Hi, my name is Darin Nakakihara, and welcome to my teacher vlog. Yesterday I was looking around for some new videos to watch, and I searched up teacher vlog. I just got through binge watching TooCoolForMiddleSchool, Megan Forbes vlog on YouTube. It is amazing. You guys have got to watch this thing. So she posted a video yesterday about a hashtag iTeachToo, and she put the challenge out there to post my own iTeachToo video, and all I gotta say is,
how much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Challenge accepted. Well, I am a 4th grade teacher in Irvine, California, and that is in the southern part of California, just south of Los Angeles and just north of San Diego. I'm going to be starting my 6th year of teaching, and this will be my 3rd year of teaching 4th grade. I've also taught 5th grade, and I have a year of experience working at the district office as a TOSA, teacher on special assignment. Did you always know you wanted to be a teacher? Somewhere in the back of my mind, I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher. My first major out of college was elementary education, so I had every intention of going into that, but I got sidetracked. I opened a few businesses. I used to own a coffee house and a coffee cart, and I went into sales. I managed some restaurants, and I was in the real estate business. And so that took up a big chunk of my time right out of college. Somewhere along the line, I circled back though. In 2008, the real estate market crashed. I went back to school and I got my credential in elementary education, and I've been in teaching ever since. Really, I can't imagine myself doing anything else. This is it's been a dream come true. Okay, the next question is kind of weird for me. It is, what is your typical teacher outfit of the day? Okay, this is a good one. I try to wear comfortable shoes, so either, you know, my Nikes or my Chuck Taylors, so it's pretty casual. I'll wear some kind of denim jean, black jeans, blue jeans. And then here's where it gets interesting. I always try to get as much spirit wear as possible, because in elementary school you can wear like your school t-shirts, and so I try to get some spirit wear that I can wear every single day of the week, so that I'm wearing t-shirts every day. So jeans, t-shirt, it's pretty casual at my school, in my district. So that's my outfit of choice for the day. What do you bring for lunch? Okay, so if you've watched, I think it was one of my first vlogs, I vlogged about something that I take to school every single day. Honestly, I don't like to eat salads, so I drink them instead. This is my shake. I love this bottle. It's made out of glass. I use it every morning. I don't know why, I just like to drink stuff out of glass. And you can see it's purpley browny. It has Costco's Power Greens in it. And then they're 3-berry mix with some water. And I throw a little dash of peanut butter in there too. Just I love peanut butter. Who doesn't love peanut butter? That's what I drink every morning. Elementary school, we have recess. So my first recess, I always eat a Fuji apple. It goes back to my childhood. My mom used to pack me a Red Delicious apple, and she would slice it all up, and she'd put the apple back together, and I'd get to school and pull it out, and it was still in the shape of an apple. I still don't know how she did that, but I eat an apple every day. And then for lunch, I just eat whatever we have, leftovers usually. Okay, I'm not a huge reader of books, but I'm a huge listener of books. I love audiobooks. I listen to them on my way to school and from school and whenever I'm in the car. So I take advantage of that time by listening to books. Where do I start with this one? So a teacher book, you know, I'm a big fan of Malcolm Gladwell. Outliers, Tipping Point. I just love the way that guy tells a story. So Malcolm Gladwell, definitely high on the list. I also like, I like to read a lot of business books and apply that knowledge to teaching and my professional life as a teacher. So I read Simon Sinek, Starts With Why. One of the big books last year that I read was The Carrot Principle by Adrian Bostek and, let's see, I got it right here, Chester Elton. The Carrot Principle is about creating culture in a business, and it really helped transform the culture of my classroom. And I instituted a lot of the things that they wrote in that book inside my classroom and applied it to classroom culture. And it completely transformed my classroom. So I highly recommend that one, The Carrot Principle. It's a good one. It's not a teaching book, but it's a business book that you can use in your classroom. It's a good one. Let's see, I wrote down some other ones. Daniel Pink, Drive, talks about student motivation or just motivating people in general. Course, Carol Dweck, and Mindset. That has been influential in my whole teaching career. Building off of some of her research was George Couros. He was the keynote speaker at Q this year, and he talked about, he wrote a book called The Innovator's Mindset, and that's a good book as well. He also has a daily little email list that he'll send out things to you every single day, so get on that list as well. Matthew Said also used a lot of the information and research that Carol Dweck did, and his is more sports centered. If you have a child that's really into sports, that's a great book to read. Anybody that knows me knows I love to go to the movies. It's something that I look forward to every summer, just going to movies like as much as I can. There's a theater down the street from me that shows independent movies, and I try to make my way over there as much as possible. And whenever somebody's giving me a gift and they ask me what I want, movie gift cards. Always good for Mr. N. So teacher movie, like, what qualifies as a teacher movie? Does it have to be a movie that's about a teacher? Or does it have to be a movie that involves teaching? Or, like, this is a really broad question. So I had to Google it. And so all these movies came up. Stand and Deliver. It's about that teacher in East LA. Starring the wonderfully talented Lou Diamond Phillips as Angel Guzman. The funny thing is that Lou Diamond can't even speak Spanish, and he was in La Bamba and in Stand and Deliver as a LA gang member. Dead Poets Society, Carpe Diem.
Carpe diem. Seize the day, boys. Make your lives extraordinary.
Funny story about this movie is that I used to own a coffee house in West LA called Java Joe, and one of my regulars was a screenwriter, and he'd always sit at the bar and be working on some scripts. And he swears that he is the one that came up with that line, Carpe Diem. So wherever you are, I don't know if it's true, but it always makes for a good story. The Freedom Riders, remember the Titans? He was a coach though, does that count? But I love Denzel. Who doesn't love Denzel? Well, if you know, and if you put Remember the Titans in there, can you put Rudy? Because Rudy, I will always stop and watch Rudy. That's a great movie. I'd have to say my favorite movie involving teaching is Mr. Holland's Opus, starring the wonderfully talented Richard Dreyfuss as Mr. Holland. There's a scene in this movie that I send out to my parents every year. And it's the scene where Richard Dreyfuss is sitting in the principal's office with Olympia Dukakis, I think, and the guy from Shameless, what's his name? Anyways, vice principal, right? And they're sitting in the office together, and the vice principal doesn't like the way that Mr. Hollins is teaching. He says, he's using rock and roll to teach these kids. And the principal's like, well, what do you have to say about this? And Richard Dreyfuss says,
Mrs. Jacobs, you tell them that I am teaching music, and that I will use anything from Beethoven to Billie Holiday to rock and roll if I think it'll help me teach a student to love music.
That's a reasonable answer, Mr. Holland. I can tell them that.
It really sums up my teaching philosophy so perfectly. I'll do whatever it takes to make an impact on these kids. I just answered this question on Teacher Talk with CJ Reynolds last week, and I mentioned Mrs. Gerardo, my 3rd grade and 5th grade teacher, and thinking back, there's also my high school English teacher. I had her 2 years as well. Her name is Mrs. Giota, and she taught at John F. Kennedy High School in La Palma. Has to be retired by now, but she was so wonderful. She cared so much about the arts in language arts. She took us to Broadway plays, and looking back, I'm like, wow, I got to see Cats and Dreamgirls, and that experience instilled a love of Broadway that I still have today.
The world turned upside down. The world turned upside down.
Still have today. Who are some of your favorite teacher, YouTuber, Instagrammer, Snapchatters, etc.? Well, I wouldn't be doing this video if it wasn't for Megan at TooCoolForMiddleSchool. And of course, there's CJ Reynolds at Real Rap with Reynolds. We are like simpatico. Everything he does, I'm like, man, that's exactly how I think, you know. Who else do I watch? Well, as I mentioned last week on CJ's show, I'm really into Casey Neistat. I love that guy's vlog and everything that he does, the style, his demeanor, everything that he has to offer. It's not really a teacher YouTuber. I'm more of a Twitter person when it comes to my teacher PLC social network, and I follow Alice Keeler and Jenny Giguiere. Who doesn't love those two, right? Ted Fujimoto is he's a Twitter guy. He posts some great educational stuff. Ted Fujimoto. And also, you have to follow this guy. He's not a teacher, but he posts the most mind-blowing tweets every single day. His name is Vala Afshar. VALAAFSHAR. Vala Afshar. He posts some of the most mind-blowing tweets you will read ever. So definitely follow him as well. He's incredible. I'm kind of on an Instagram and Facebook hiatus right now. Right now, my social media is really centered around Snapchat, and I'm on a Snapchat EDU group that posts a lot of stuff and keeps me involved. What is one of your best classroom management tips? Okay, this is a good one, because it's so important for you to build a culture in your classroom, right? That fosters learning, because that's what we're here for, right? And you don't want I don't want a situation where I'm sitting in front of a classroom just lecturing and trying to pour information into my kids' brains. I want them to be actively learning and discovering and creating these experiences. And I'm sure we're on the same page here, where we want to create these experiences where these kids are learning stuff in a meaningful way, right? So when you talk about classroom management, it's so important, because without good classroom management skills as a foundation, you have no control over your class, right? And if your class is out of control, it's not the student's fault. It's your fault. That's how I feel. So it's important for us as teachers, especially teachers that are facilitators of learning. They're not lecturers where they're just pouring out information. When you're facilitating learning and you're talking about classroom management, what does the ideal classroom look like? Is it a set of rows where the students have their hands folded in front of them and they're sitting up and listening to you intently with their eyes on you? Or is it, does it look like organized chaos where the kids are all over the room and they're just actively learning and discovering? That's what my room looks like. If you walked by my room, you'd be like, what is going on in there? Because there's kids sitting on the floor, there's kids sitting on a couch. If you've seen my my classroom tour, I have a full-on lounge area and stand-up tables, so the kids are all over the place. But you have to be able to manage that learning, right? So that's where the classroom management comes in. One of the biggest tips that I always give teachers is wait for everyone's attention. It's probably the best classroom management tip you're ever gonna get. We all have attention getters, right? So regardless of what your classroom setup's like, we all have, in elementary school, we have the old clap your hands one time if you can hear me. Clap your hands 2 times if you can hear me. Call and response, waterfall, shh. There's so many of those. Clap, and then they follow you. In high school, I'm not sure, or middle school, what you guys do to get attention, but I'm sure it's something like,
shut up! It goes for all of you.
the important part of this, though, is not the act of getting someone's attention, because there's so many of them, right? The key component, and if you're a new teacher, please listen to this. The key component is to wait until you have every single student's attention. And that could seem like an eternity, especially if you're new and you're getting observed by your principal. Just wait for everyone's attention. And if you need to have a gentle reminder in there, like, I'll wait for you, you do it. Because if you don't wait, what is that telling the kids? It's telling them that they can continue doing what they're doing and ignore you, because you're just gonna tell them whatever you're gonna tell them anyways, right? And that's not what you wanna tell them. The thing that you wanna subconsciously get across to them is that you're gonna wait until you have every single person's attention, and you're not gonna continue until you do that. That is what your expectation is. That is what you're gonna demand every single time you stop what they're doing to get their attention. Wait, wait, for every single person's attention. It is so key. It's so key. It's one of the biggest mistakes that I see from new teachers when they come into a classroom is that they'll say, okay, you guys, can I get your attention? And then they'll go and they'll say something, whatever they're gonna say, add on to the directions or whatever. But they won't wait until everybody's attention, they get everyone's attention. And then of course, what happens after that is, what were the directions again? I didn't hear that. What do you mean? So that is my number one classroom management tip for you. One reason that I decided to become a teacher was, it's kind of pie in the sky and super lofty, but I want to change the world. I want to help make the world a better place. When I see crazy people doing crazy things, I always think, how would having a good role model have changed this person? Would it have changed? I think it would. These kids need a role model. I want to help these kids become better citizens of the world. That's how I'm going to help make the world a better place. But that's one of the main reasons that I wanted to become a teacher. And hopefully I'm doing a good job. Okay, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to all my answers to these questions. And don't forget to subscribe below. This is Darin Nakakihara with my teacher vlog. See you next time.